y'all. Welcome to First Comes Love, Then Comes Marriage podcast. My name is Lindsay Jackson.
And I'm Aaron Jackson.
And on this, the third episode of season 4, we are recapping. We're talking about all the things that we got from the second episode with Dr. Emily McKnight. So I'm really excited to dive in. Let's go for it. What's the first take that you can remember just listening to that episode?
Just Friends episode 2, season 4.
Yes.
I really liked it. And the first thing that I really enjoyed and I thought it was very interesting, it was kind of her requirements to her clients. And one of the things that she said was you have to have a desire to be married. And I thought that was very interesting because I'm like reading an audiobook or somebody's reading to me and they're talking about desire and passion and how it's more than want.
Right.
And so like I could want to, I don't know, get 6-pack abs, right? I could want it, but there's some people like Arnold Schwarzenegger who that was his desire to be a bodybuilder. So it's just the desire to me pushes past want and gives it more purpose, more intention.
So you're talking about when she was like, the people I coach desire to be married.
Yeah.
And so like when I think about dating, because it was such a cool episode for us to be a part of, I'm like, man, we haven't dated pre-marriage in 9 years, right?
Yeah.
Because we're still dating each other, but we haven't dated pre-marriage. And so I think like, okay, wow, that's number one, the desire to be married. And so just when you were talking, the difference between desire and want, and understanding that with desire, to me, with desire comes some sort of sacrifice, some level of sacrifice. That's what I think, because I think like, okay, what have I desired in my life? Like I've desired to become a dancer. And yes, exactly. And I remember praying about this. Like I can vividly remember talking to God, and there's a scripture and it's like, God is going to give you the desires of your heart. And I remember asking him, like, I want to tour. I want to dance. I want to get paid to dance all over the world. And I remember being specific with my prayers, but I remember thinking, okay, this is a desire, one. And two, what am I doing to help fulfill that desire? So like, okay, I might have to get up early or stay late or go to class when I don't feel like it, or not go to birthday parties, or not do these functions, or, kind of sacrifice the things that I want. See, want versus desire. The things that I want for what I actually and truly desire. And so when Emily was talking, Dr. McKnight was talking, she was saying like, okay, you desire to be married. So what is the sacrifice that you're making because you desire to be married? So I don't know. That's interesting, because I didn't think about marriage like that. I knew that I wanted to get married, but I didn't think about it like that.
Oh, I knew that I had a desire to marry you.
Yeah.
I wanted to be married to you. I wanted and I desired to be married to you. So when she said that, it reminds me of one of my movies. It's like my romantic comedy movie that I like, and it's Hitched.
Oh my gosh, you love this movie.
Yeah, I love Hitch.
He loves this movie. You love this movie, and I actually do not like this movie
it's
for many reasons.
It's a Will Smith rom-com. It's really good.
It's not good.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
If you haven't seen Hitch, see Hitch, because then you can tell us,
So, in Hitch, he is a matchmaker. Hitch is a matchmaker.
Yes.
And he's recommended by people, and he has an interview with him, like, how'd you get my number and stuff. And in the movie, one guy got Hitch's number, and they had the meeting, and he was basically like, I just wanna jump her bones, and then
I haven't figured out how to have sex with this woman. Can you help me? And Will Smith character was like, wait, no, you're not the client for me.
You are not the client for me.
Okay.
And so I feel like when I am purposefully doing something, I have a desire and I'm very purposeful. Like one of the things that Dr. McKnight said was put on earrings and like take a shower, just knowing that you're going to be meeting people,
Yeah.
knowing that you're going to be attracting people, because that's what you want, that's what you desire. I found that very interesting, that I knew that I wanted to marry you. It was my desire, and it was almost like nothing was going to stop me.
Yeah.
So if I have something that I want and nothing's going to stop me, that means that yes, I will have to sacrifice some things. That might be hanging out with my friends. That might be uh, talking to some women, right?
Right.
That might get me in a situation, a sticky situation. It might mean that I need to hit the books and learn more and get more culture and learn about dance and learn about poetry and learn about things like this. Figure out how to date you. Read more books. Like you and I, we have a book club together, and you like to read. Yeah. I was not like a book reader like that. So learning stuff like that and knowing what I want, like seeing that target and then going for it, it's really purposeful in the dating world if you want to get married. Right. Like if you desire to get married, desire puts I think it puts like the oomph into want. Yeah, a want without movement, a want without action is a wish, basically.
Yes, and if you just wishing upon a star, then you're actually not getting anything done.
So that was my one. That was one of my takes that I really I was like, wow, this is good stuff.
Okay. I think the first thing that I can remember when I think about that episode is, and this is so simple, but it was like her dating tips and what is successful dating, and it goes back to like what you were saying about Hitch. What do you want when you're dating? Mm-hmm. And so everybody doesn't want marriage, which is it actually. Now let me back up, because I was talking to a girlfriend at work, and I was like, do all of your single friends want to get married? And she was like, yeah, I think so. And I posed this question because some people are like, I don't really want to get married anymore, or I don't really think I can get married anymore. And it goes back to our first episode. So anyway, what you get out of dating, and the dating tips that Dr. McKnight shared were for the person who wants to be married. Uh-huh. And so one of her dating tips was, of course, be presentable. The affirmation of I will attract people everywhere I go, which is like gold. The other one was like actually understanding your boundaries, and it goes back to abstinence. But understanding like, okay, I am not going to indulge in my sexual desires, because there's that desire, my sexual wants and my sexual pleasures, because I want to understand us first. I want to understand like how we communicate. What do we like? How do we talk to each other? And that dating tip is so like, it's so important. And she was like, it's not popular. It's important, but it's not popular. People are like, oh, why would I do this? I want to just kind of have this beginning stage of chemistry and falling in love and do all of this, all that. But she was like, on the back end, it kind of puts you behind because you didn't get the opportunity to know each other first. And I was like, wow, that's good.
Yeah, there was one part that I don't know if we put it on the podcast or not, but she talked about just having an attraction to somebody. And when she said she has a type, and then she was on the bus with a type, and
to listen to their body when they meet a man. If you are intrigued by, let's say, their intellect or their humor, right? That's cool. But if your loins just start popping all over the place, I would say run from that. You know what I mean? Like, pay attention. If it's that sexual energy immediately upon meeting somebody, run from that.
Wow.
Yes. I remember being out in Iowa, and I would catch the bus because it was easier for us to catch the bus than to drive in snow, because we're from LA. We didn't know what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And so I remember all these football players got on the bus. I was like, oh, I'm 30 something. I don't be around no team of football players. I pulled that little lever and got right off. Talking about, excuse me. I am a married 30-something woman carrying a baby, and y'all thick-necked dudes are not about to sit up here and surround me talking about, hey, how you doing? I'm fine because I'm getting ready to get off. Like, no.
Yeah.
So you have to carry that with you forever. So as a single, I would say pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Like, see what attracts you. Is it, I understand looks and attraction, but the sexual attraction is a clear sign. Like, strong sexual attraction is too much.
It's dangerous.
I would rather you get somebody who you're friends with, you communicate with, who's also good looking. And then that sexual attraction grows, but right away, trouble.
I find it so interesting because I was talking to one of my single friends, and I said, I asked her if she wanted to get married, and she was kind of like, she was more so like indifferent about it. Yes, I want to get married. She liked the idea, but it wasn't like, okay. And I was like, have you ever saw somebody who you instantly had a sexual urge towards?
Right.
And she said yes, and I was like, how did it go? And she was like, it went well because she pursued him, and that happened, but it didn't end in marriage.
Right.
And so the purpose of that was because it was a sexual urge. And I was just reading in what's that book I'm reading right now? Think and Grow Rich.
Yes.
Think and Grow Rich. They were just talking about sexual urges and how it's a very powerful thing to get your body moving. Sex is a symbol to your body to do something. It wants physical touch. And so when you see that person, and Dr. Amy McKnight was like, if you see that person, run. Because you're going to skip all of the stages that grow a healthy relationship, a long-lasting relationship. You're going to go straight towards the physical, right? Because you're so physically attracted. So it's almost like is there love at first sight, right? People always say love at first sight or lust at first sight, right?
Right.
And knowing yourself, knowing your boundaries, knowing I should not be with this girl. Like, truthfully, when I was a little bit younger in our marriage, if it was a girl with locks, or it was like a girl who was like a dancer, any kind of dancer,
yes,
I kept my distance. Like, I was like, nope, not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it
because it's a little bit of a temptation.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I'm like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't, you know what? Curiosity definitely killed the cat, and it's not going to kill the marriage. And so doing that, knowing your boundary, knowing yourself, knowing your type. There's different types. Like, there's like a body type that you like, but there's also like a personality type that you like.
Yes. And
knowing like, hey, and let's not go straight to the bedroom. Let's wait. It's so interesting. It's so many guys in the friend zone right now because they're the good guy. They have all the qualities, but the woman's like, oh no, the physical is not there.
Right.
I mean, if he's a good looking guy, and you're just like, oh, I'm not attracted to him, I guess. But there are guys missing out, or women missing out. It's kind of like the love of your life could be right in front of your face.
Right.
But you're worried about the physical, and you're worried about other things besides the purpose of having a happy, healthy marriage.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to her point. Like, what is it that you want? What is it that you desire? And then kind of focusing in. But let me ask you a question, because this is something I think about. Do you actually think, or that people who date now, because we asked her, how has dating changed now in 2023? What is the difference? And, we talked about apps, but do you think that people now can actually date without having sex?
Yes. I think it's possible. I think it takes a lot of self-discipline. And it takes a lot of why. So knowing what I want to do, how am I going to get there, having a plan to get there, I can see. And now that I'm older, I kind of feel like it's easier to abstain. My hormones aren't as crazy as they were. You were pregnant multiple times, and like it's like, oh, you can't have sex for these 6 weeks.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that's, I mean, 6 weeks is not a long time in the grand scheme of things, but it's like, okay, me knowing maybe the fact that I know that sex will come after the 6 weeks might be helpful, but I feel like the more mature I am, and it's about discipline, it's about self-control. So if I'm looking for a partner for life, and one of the ways to get it is abstaining,
right,
then why not do that? It's like, I want to be healthy, and one of the ways to do it is like being vegan or something. And some people turn vegan because of that.
Yeah.
You stop eating meat. You eat fish, but you stop eating meat. Sometimes you see something and you're like, you know what, this is a good idea, this is a good plan, let me do it. So I do believe that people can stop having sex or abstain for a certain amount of time. Like nuns and stuff like that, that's on them, but
I mean, it's easier said than done. And so I think about that, like, especially the hormones that we had as teenagers, versus the hormones that we had in our 20s and now in our 30s are completely different.
Yeah.
And so asking a teenager to understand their body and then to understand how to control it, that to me is like,
it's tough.
Ooh, I mean, like, what, how did we? But I get the mindset behind it, and I get understanding, like, okay, especially when it's like you're in this position, you're at a certain age, and the dating hasn't worked. So it's like, why not, like how Dr. McKnight said, she's like, why not try this? It hasn't worked previously, you know, obviously the new thing now that parents and people will say, like, okay, if you're going to have sex, make sure it's for this and this and this purposes. So,
you know, make sure it's somebody you love.
It's somebody you love, and, you know, all of the things. But then in the end, if it still ends in, you know, broken heart or whatever the case may be, it's like, okay, well, why not try it this way? Why not even try it this way? And so a part of me is like, man, especially because we have kids, and I know this isn't that topic, this is the dating topic, but I think about, like, what are we going to teach our kids about dating, about like how to date, how to talk to people. I mean, we got 2 boys, so this is more so on you.
No, they can watch. Look, watch me date your mom and then learn.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Am I Wrong segment of First Comes Love, Then Comes Marriage podcast. This is a part of the show where I give a situation and you tell me if I'm wrong or if Lindsay is wrong. So this is the situation. We are on the airplane. We have 2 boys. It's 4 people in the family, 3 seats.
Okay.
And our son, Shine Major Jackson, is he has a full diaper. So we're about, it's a 6-hour flight. We're about 5 hours in, and we need to change him before we start the descent. Hate is a strong word. I hate changing diapers on an airplane. Specifically, I don't mind changing diapers anywhere else. I hate, mind you, remember that, changing diapers on the airplane. Now, Lindsay asked me if I could change the diaper. I expressed myself. I told her how much I do not like it. She was indifferent about changing the diaper, not as passionate as I was, but she didn't want to do it. So we agreed to do a rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Whoever loses has to change Shine. We went 3 times.
Let's do rock, paper, scissors right now.
What are you talking about? No. We did best out of 3. I won 2 out of 3. And then she goes, well, if I take him, I'm be upset. And so I end up taking him to go get changed. And I didn't like it. He didn't even poop or anything. I just don't like, it's too tight for me. But she did not honor the rock, paper, scissors covenant that we had. Am I wrong for being upset? Because I was getting kind of ticked that Lindsay did not honor our rock, paper, scissors covenant.
Wow. This was a month ago, at least. And he's still holding this. So you clearly was really upset. Let me just say this. Okay, people have two different ways to do rock, paper, scissors. People do rock, paper, scissors, right? And this is the rock, paper, scissors. Or they do rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay? I do rock, paper, scissors. Aaron decided that he wanted to do rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So he saw what I put out first, and then we let go of that first one, but it kind of threw off my game. It threw off the game. And so I just want to say that first, because number one, figure out how y'all people play rock, paper, scissors. This is important. We've been knowing each other all our lives, and to this day, I'm just seeing that he don't play rock, paper, scissors the right way. So that's number one. Number two, yes, nobody like changing no baby's diapers on the airplane. So, okay, is he wrong to be tight? I don't know, y'all. Because I think I'm okay.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, as long as the wife is happy. I understand. But you can always call the voicemail at 412-LOVE-POD. That's 412-5683-763.
Or you can DM us on Instagram or TikTok, First Comes Love, TCM. You can also email us, let's talk at firstcomeslovethenComesMarriage.com.
One more thing. We are on YouTube now.
Oh, yeah.
To find us on YouTube is at First Comes Love. If you put the @ First Comes Love, we pop it up. Make sure you do subscribe and comment.
That's it.
So we're back talking, doing the recap from Dr. Emily McKnight, our episode 2. We're going a little bit deeper. It was a long episode, and I feel like sometimes we do an episode and we don't get really juicy. So this is a little bit more, because some people are like, I want more of this. I want more of this.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she talked about, and it was another interesting thing, I was like, ooh, I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Is something that you always think about is what to say and what not to say on the first date. Like,
I always talk about this.
Yeah. And she talked about time. And she said sometimes it takes times. But my question for her was, what are things that you should not talk about? And she really was like, don't talk about trauma on the first date.
Right.
Basically. And don't talk about money.
Finances,
money.
Status. Yes.
So how do you feel about that? And like, because you haven't been dating a long time, but have you thought about stuff like that?
I have. That's such a good point. And so the main thing that I got, she was like, keep it light, keep it friendship, keep it like, I'm just going to, what she did say, get to know your cousin, which I was like, because if I'm attracted to this person, it's not the same. I have a level of flirtation, but still to keep it light. And so I think when you add in money and status, it turns it to like almost a competition. And you shouldn't be competing already. I mean, period. We talked about that. But especially in the beginning, like, it can be intimidating for one or the other person. And that's not the goal. That's not the goal, to be intimidating. The goal might be, I want him or her to think like I'm super cool. I don't know, I sounded corny. Or I want them to think that, like, I'm important, that I have worth, that I have value, which is good. They should already come with that, whether they know you or not. They should value you. But it shouldn't be like, oh, okay, just so you know, I have this position at work, and also, oh, well, yesterday I flew to Dubai and I came back, kind of like, what's it when you name drop and I thought that was a really good point, because I hear that just when I meet people, friends. So when I think about relationships in general, I think people do that. It's something that I'd never like to do, just because I thought, okay, if I tell people I work at Lion King, people are going to take advantage of me. So this about me. It's just recently that I started being comfortable enough to tell people when they don't know me, like, where I work. Most of the time I'll just say I'm a dancer, and I'll let your imagination run wild. Or, I'll say I work on Broadway, and maybe you think I'm an usher or something, and I won't tell you what show. But like, telling people where I work, it actually was a little bit, maybe it was something about me that I was like, I don't want I don't want to start the relationship with you knowing something that is cool about me, or not cool, but it could put me at a different level, because I know that it does put me at a different level. So, you know, I think about that, and I think that is probably the best point when it comes to what not to say when you're on your first date, when you're getting to know someone. And it also has to do with what you are, how you're presenting it. So if you already come with this level, like, I'm better than, then you're not coming at it from the right point.
I totally agree with you, because you've always been humble when it came to you being on Broadway. 10 years, a decade on Broadway, a decade on Broadway, The Lion King. And you don't really tell people that. You're about to go back to our home church to do a performance. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, Lindsay is probably one of the more successful dancers when it came from like the people at our church.
Right.
You and Jonathan. I would think that would be the two names that people were like, yeah, these people went all the way to Broadway and they're doing things and they're still dancing. I mean, other people were successful in other ways, but you were dancing. And when you said that, and you were talking about how your friends, how you hear friends, and I hear people do it too. It's the posturing, right? I'm better than you. This is my status. And the cool thing I realized about just living my everyday life is that knowing my self-worth and walking into the room and knowing how much I'm worth, that right there,
right,
people see that. And so if I'm on a date, and if I'm on a first date and I believe in myself and I think that I'm handsome and I'm presenting myself well and I know everything that I know and I love myself.
Right.
I'm not like super sure, like it's not like I'm cocky, but I will have that confidence and people are attracted to that.
Yes.
If the cool thing people always say about wedding rings is like, once you get a wedding ring, then you know, people are attracted to you. Women get on you and stuff like that. The thing is, if somebody loves you, then that means you're lovable, right? So if I love myself, that means I'm lovable because somebody loves me.
Yes.
And that's how I see it. Loving myself is going to translate into attracting people, like she said, attracting people. So I don't need to go to a date posturing and trying to big myself up and stuff like that, because I'm already have that confidence. And I think that's a real important thing. And just knowing, hey, this is who I am, this is what I bring to the table. I hate that saying anyway, but this is who I am, this is what I bring to the table, this is my purpose. That stuff really translates.
One thing that Dr. McKnight said, and I'm not sure if this was before or after we stopped recording, because we got to talking even afterwards, just about, you know, what's going on. And she was saying how how therapy is crucial nowadays. It wasn't back in the day, but working on self is so important before you go into a relationship, because understanding self before you connect with someone else, it'll give you that self-esteem. It'll give you that confidence that you won't seek from someone else. That's number one. But then also number two, and I thought this was such a really good point, it was hearing from God.
Now we're in 2023. The pattern that I've been seeing is God is telling you to get your butt in therapy, do some deep healing before I even introduce you to this man of God that you're praying for, this woman of God that you're praying for. You have to deal with it. And I think it's one of the sweetest gifts that God can do for us, because it's painful in marriage to say, I didn't know that this was an issue. I didn't know that I made this thing a part of my identity. I didn't know that pornography was a thing. And now it's a thing in marriage and women don't talk about it. But now I got to say this to my husband. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's painful. Right. After all this praying, after, being, with someone that you love and you feel like God brought you together. And then now you have this mirror staring back in your face where you have to admit that you brought in some stuff that you didn't know you were bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think has changed in this time. And I think singles definitely need to take it seriously.
Mm. And she said it, and she said it so beautifully, but I just want to, hammer it in, because it was like, okay, she said the point was, it was like, okay, maybe I'm not drinking a lot of times, and this is something that I don't know if people still do, but you know how what's it called when you drink before you go out?
A pregame.
Thank you.
I don't know.
No, people would pregame, kind of like get the jitters away. Or I saw a show where this guy, had to masturbate so that he could be done with it, and he didn't have the urge or whatever it is. And so it was kind of like, no, but so I was thinking like, wow, that those things are also like, that's not putting you, to me, in the right headspace to get ready to go to this date, to talk to this person, to be yourself, to understand who they are, and to get to know each other in that sense, to hear from God, and to really just have no distractions. And I thought that was a really good point, a valuable point about dating, first dates, second dates, third dates, all those beginning stages, really understanding like, okay, I need to come at this and be myself, and be level-headed, clear-headed, and be willing to open up and hear what the other person has to say without any level of I'm better than. I thought those were really good points.
In closing, I think closing up, my question for you, and watching the last episode and listening in the last episode, and also participating in the last episode.
Yeah.
If you were coaching somebody, or you were talking to a friend who wanted to get married, what would you say? What would you say? What would your advice be? They go, hey, Lindsay, what I need
about what? About what specifically?
What kind of advice would you give from there, that you were like, you know what, this is what I really think that you should know? Yeah. That would be helpful.
Are they already dating?
No, single, ready to mingle.
I remember her saying how she enjoyed dating. Once she realized that she took sex out of the equation, she was like, I really enjoyed my dating experience. And honestly, I want that as well. I want people to enjoy dating.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to enjoy dating and not be scarred and not be scared by going out on dates. I remember, and we've talked about this before, that we read the book I Kissed Dating Goodbye. Mm-hmm. And it was, the moral of the story, if I can remember, it was pretty much like, you don't need to go on a lot of dates. It was date with the intention to marry, and really just date the one person that you're supposed to marry. But that is not, I think that's a little bit outdated, if I will say. That's not really where it is. You are supposed to go on dates, and you are supposed to get to know people, and you are supposed to take it slow. So not rush into anything, not rush into falling in love, not rush into this is going to be the person, but just like discovering who you are, discovering who they are, discovering who you are together, and coming from the point where you do have time, because really it's God's timing. It's not your timing anyway. I think recognizing that is really important. It's not, I know a lot of times, especially now that we're in our 30s, if I talk to people, they'll say, okay, I need to get married. Mm-hmm. As a woman, I need to get married. I need to have kids, and there's a timing. But that comes with desperation. And you don't need to go into it being desperate. You need to go in it being calm and cool and, yourself. So I would definitely say, have fun, take your time.
That's dope. I had one in mind when I asked you the question, and it completely slipped my mind.
Think about maybe I need to ask you,
because yours is so good. Okay,
I'm going to ask you, if you got your friends, okay, they're dating, they want to marry, what would you say to them?
I would say, as much as things have changed, stuff is still the same. So you could still meet people at church. You could still meet somebody at the job. You could meet somebody going to the grocery store and stuff like that. So don't limit yourself to saying, okay, there's nobody out there, I have to go through the app, right? Be open to all the experiences that come with this journey of dating.
Yeah. You got to be open. You got to be open. And you know what? Just to piggyback, I know you want to wrap it up, but for real, just to piggyback, there was one thing that she said. It was about affirmations. And you said it when we were talking about it, we were listening to the episode. It was so good because affirmations give you that. Maybe if you need a little bit more power within yourself, it gives you that. And her affirmation that she said, kind of off the cusp, but it was really good. It was, I attract people everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And she was like, even if it's like you're attracting friendships, and then eventually it would be you're attracting romantic relationships, and you're attracting, work relationships, and I attract people everywhere I go. And when she said it, just that simple statement right there, and that might be a mantra for someone, as they leave the house, it works. I know it works because I've said things and I'm like, thank you, God. I believe it and it works. So I want to end on that. So thank you for joining us, watching us, listening to us. Thank you for coming in and recapping with us. Please reach out. Let us know what you think. You can DM us on Instagram or TikTok. First Comes Love TCM.
You can call our voicemail at 412-LOVE-POD. That is 412-5683-763.
And you can email us. Let's talk at firstcomeslove, thenComesMarriage.com. See you next Friday.